Wow, what an amazing evening. Welcome. My name is Jan Malmgren. I'm a photographer, ecologist and writer. And this is a very special episode. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. Look at this lovely scenery. I'm standing right on the shoreline here at Lake Vänern. It's a place called Viken, and we have a lot of small islands here, a lot of islets, just rocks sticking up out of the water, and this rugged coastline too, with a lot of boulders and a lot of granite cliffs here. So this is a gorgeous place to take photos, and I've been here several times. But tonight is special, and we'll see how much I have time to do before it gets a bit dark. It's around 20 minutes to 9 p.m. But the sun won't set until an hour and a half or something. So it's summer in Sweden and Scandinavia. But what's so special with this episode? Well, I had lots of questions, or at least a few questions, from the last episode from viewers who was asking me about the tilt and shift lens from Fujifilm, the 30mm 5.6. And I promised those who asked to give a more sort of user's review of that lens. So this is it. Take it for what it is. I'm not a technical reviewer, and I'm not a YouTuber that reviews gear. I'm a photographer, and I have been a working photographer, and so therefore when I talk about gear, it's from a user's perspective. So take that as a disclaimer. And one more thing. I am not affiliated or sponsored by Fujifilm or any other brand, so the equipment that I show in these episodes are my own. I have bought them with my own money. Of course, I have the GFX100 Mark II with me tonight. I have the viewfinder in the bag, but actually I won't use it tonight, because I plan to show you how I use the GF 30mm f5.6 tilt and shift lens. And therefore I have this special gadget that can show you what I see in the viewfinder when I compose and also orient the lens in the way that we want. Fujifilm 30mm tilt and shift lens comes with a collar and a tripod mount. You have to use a bracket for the tripod foot, because it is not supplied with a Arca Swiss compatible foot. So therefore you have to put on a sort of like a bracket like this one. I will not use the collar and the tripod mount today because I think it is easier to move it freely when you have an L bracket for the camera body that is supported by a sturdy tripod. But if you are doing architectural photography or interiors, for example, then it's crucial to have these mounts and the collar, because by releasing the collar just a bit, you can freely rotate the lens around the collar. So this is the Fujifilm 30mm f5.6 tilt and shift lens. It is quite a hefty piece of equipment, but extraordinarily well built in every detail. So what you have are several different knobs and turns. You have a locking mechanism for the tilt, for example here. So you can tilt the front element of the lens both upwards to the normal position and downwards. We'll see that in action later on here. And also we have this shift knob. So by turning this knob you can shift the lens element in the front in relation to the sensor in the camera body, either to the left like this or to the right like this. So those are the two mechanisms, tilting and shifting. And further, because you want to be able to rotate the camera body or the lens itself to get access to many different positions of the lens and the camera body, you also have a locking mechanism that allows you to rotate the lens or the camera body, like so. So as you can see, there's a lot of flexibility. When this lens became available to the market, some photographers immediately noticed that it was not possible to easily put on filters like a UV filter or ND filters or a circular polarizer, because this front element here is fixed. You have a front ring that you can remove. Like so, and then you have filter threads on the this element right across here, and this front ring doesn't have any filter threads. So that was a bit annoying because you probably want to adapt different filters to the front of the lens. I will show you what came in the bag. So the camera came with this lens hood and this enormous cap. Here this lens hood has a filter adapter that fits this front element of the lens, but it's screwed outside, and this is not an ordinary filter thread, not at least of any dimension that I know of, and I have tested quite a few adapter rings. There is a filter thread on this side in the lens hood. It is for 105mm filters. So this lens hood goes here in the front of the lens, and I guess Fujifilm just had in mind that okay, people who will be using this lens, they can buy 105mm filters and use it instead. But you know, most photographers buy into some kind of filter system. Like I have this Case Revolution filter system, which is magnetic. So then you place a magnetic filter thread in the front of the lens, and then you can use with adapter rings the same filter size as you do for other lenses. So it's quite convenient that way. But this is the big lens hood with the adapter ring that comes in the package for the lens when you buy it. I don't use this particularly much. I have a Lee Filters circular polarizer for 105 millimeters, and I use that sometimes, but that's about it. And also I have looked for step-down rings that goes from 105 to 95 millimeter filter threads, because Kese has a 95 millimeter magnetic filter system. But I haven't found that yet. Perhaps I will in due time, and perhaps I will buy some 95 millimeter filters. But for now I'm using my own home-brewed solution, and I will show you. So this protective front ring that goes in the threads here in front of the lens, it doesn't have any filter threads on the inside that you can place filters on. So I have simply used a magnetic filter adapter from Kese that is supplied with my magnetic filters. So this is just a magnetic filter holder for Kese. It goes with 82 millimeters. But since there are no threads on this front protective ring of the Fujifilm lens, I have simply forced it onto this protective ring from Fuji. But now it is quite stuck. I'm a bit careful when I release magnetic filters. But you can also rotate this magnetic filter holder. So it's quite convenient actually. So it goes on front of the lens like this. Like so. And then now I can put on my magnetic filters from Kese on this lens. So for example, this is just an ordinary UV filter, magnetic from Kese. It has the 82 millimeter size, and it comes with a revolution kit. There it snaps on magnetically, and also Kese provides these magnetic lids also. So I just put it on there, and now I have a sort of a slimmer and more convenient sized filter system. And I can put on the circular polarizer, the ND filters from Kese onto here. The only thing I have to be careful with is when I am doing, for example, a lot of shifting. So when I'm shifting the lens either upwards or downwards or to the sides in the most extreme positions, then I get some vignetting from the filter. But you know, vignetting is easy to remove in Lightroom or Photoshop. So before it gets too dark here, I had hoped to show you how the lenses works. We will try to do some photographs with the tilting mechanism, because that's what's mainly used in landscape photography. So this gadget here is called the Zoom CineView or CineEye, and it picks up the HDMI signal from the camera, put it in this transmitter that sends over 5G, makes a Wi-Fi connection to the iPhone. So I can record the actual image from the viewfinder. So what I see here in the display or in the viewfinder, I can record directly in the iPhone, and I will put that on the screen when I explain how I do things. So now it has set up the Wi-Fi network, and I'm connected. So then I go into the app and I click monitor, and then I see the same thing here in the iPhone as I see on the display here on the camera. So in that way, and I can record, as you see here, I can record And those recordings I will show you in the clips. So it's quite a convenient little gadget for recording what you actually see and displaying it in videos, for example. Okay, so now I'm recording what I see in the display, and I can follow along, and you can follow along too. So this is also very convenient when you have a geared head like this. As you can see, I have to put everything in level, and as I turn the knobs here, you can see also the different horizontal spirit level there, like the green line now. It is parallel to the horizontal line, and also I can do some upwards orientation, and you can see that, but I will try to have it horizontal for now. And then also, of course, we will adjust the exposure. So I'm not that, I'm going for I'm going for f16 here, and also raising up the ISO to let's say around 500, and then I will have a shutter speed of around 15th of a second. And also I will rotate this so that I can take a picture of this lovely little island that we have out here. So also, this lens is not weatherproof or weather resistant in any way, so if it begins to rain, I will pick up the lens and I'll put it in the bag, and then we'll leave for this evening. And also, tilt shift lenses are almost always manual focus only, so there's no autofocus here. So you have to use the manual focus ring in the front, and also you have a lot of help with zooming in and going for this sort of finding the right focus. As you can see, now I'm in focus, and I can zoom out again. There we go. So just setting this as an ordinary exposure, I will take an image now, and also I will use a 2-second timer so that I don't introduce any camera shake when I take the picture or take the exposure. So here we go. And of course, this slow shutter speed is not slow enough to sort of take out the waves here, but we can do another exposure and try to take out the waves a bit. So we will start by reducing the ISO to its lowest on the Fujifilm GFX, and that is ISO 80. And now you see, to get a decent exposure, I will have to adjust the shutter speed accordingly. So let's go for example, 2 seconds. And we'll press the shutter. Yeah. So that's how you ordinarily take some photos using this as an ordinary lens. And the 30mm is crazy sharp, so you can absolutely use it as an ordinary lens. It takes amazing images. But if you are to use the tilting mechanism now to get the focus plane to follow along these rocks in the foreground and also capturing the island to sort of have a depth of field that is formed like a wedge, like this, in relation to the lens and in relation to the sensor plane in the camera. Then you use the tilt function of the lens. So in this case I will try to just firstly put the try to find a decent composition now, incorporating many of these rocks in the foreground. So I will begin with sort of going for a much wider composition now with the rocks in the foreground. And also try to check the horizontal level, and I will increase the ISO a bit so I can see what I'm doing. And if we now check the focus on these rocks in the foreground using the focus setting that we had before, I can check here, and you can see on the recording here that this rock is severely out of focus. So if we are trying to tilt the lens to get as much as possible along this sort of wedge towards the island in focus, then we must use a sort of an iterative methodology, trying to first check the focus here, set the tilting level, and then check the focus on the island, and to see if we get both the island and the rocks in the foreground in focus, and then adjust the tilt until we get the focus wedge to capture as much as possible in focus. So that's what we will try to do now. And that for that we are using the tilting mechanism of the lens. So as you can see, now I'm tilting the lens downwards, and you see what happens. This rock that was very much out of focus, it's the rock just a few meters ahead of me, is now in focus. So if I adjust it with the lens, the focus ring, it is now in focus. But if we are to go to the island now, to try to see if the island is in focus, we'll see what happens. No, the island is not in focus. So we have to either tilt even more, and I will try to tilt now to see where I can get the island in focus. And that's about there. Then of course we don't have the rocks in focus. Let me check what happens. Well, it's not too bad, is it? So actually I think I found a tilting degree that is quite suitable for getting almost everything in focus. Perhaps not perfect focus, but this is an iterative process. You can go up and down like this. And I think that is quite enough to try an exposure now, actually. And we will see in Lightroom later on how it turned out. So now I press the shutter. And these are not award-winning pictures, you know, we don't have the light with us, so it will be what it will be for now. But as a demonstration, I hope you guys can see what I'm doing and the methodology behind the frames. And also I hope you can follow along on the screen here what I'm doing. And of course, it's reasonable to ask, why do I really need a tilt and shift lens? Well, the simple answer is you don't. Just using ordinary lenses and also use focus stacking, you can do exactly the same thing in your computer today, in Lightroom or Photoshop or whatever. But if you want to capture things as it is in the nature, trying to get a perfect exposure, a perfect setting, and if you are a nerd who likes the technology behind these large format film cameras that were in the old days, then perhaps a tilt shift lens is something that triggers your both imagination but also your spirit. Okay, so now you've seen the tilting mechanism of a tilt and shift lens, and I will now show you the use of the shifting technology. And what you do by shifting is you move the lens front element in relation to the camera film plane or the sensor plane in a digital camera. So by doing this, if this is the camera sensor plane and this is the lens, then you actually move the lens across the sensor plane. And by doing that, you use the full area of the lens image circle, which is very big. So let's say now that this is the setting for a panorama, and this is the center position of the panorama. And I will just check, now I have to rotate the lens element here to use the shifting function. So you can see now, if I'm moving the shift wheel here, I'm actually moving the lens across the sensor, which is now in its vertical position. So let's do 3 exposures and using the shift function. So first, just checking that we have a 2-second timer. Yes, we do. And here goes the first center exposure. And then we shift the lens. It goes all the way to 15, but we will stop at 12 here. That's just to reduce the risk of vignetting, because I have this filter ring here in the front. So this is a second exposure. And then we go all the way to the right. Or we'll go to 12, like so. And take the third exposure. And then we'll use these 3 exposures in Lightroom, and I'll show it to you here. Okay, so now we're in Lightroom, and I have sorted out the 3 images that we're about to do a merge to panorama on. So this is turning out to be a very long video, so it's something for the nerds as a demonstration of what the Fujifilm GFX100II and the 30mm 5.6 tilt and shift lens together. I will also save the use of this lens for architectural photography for later. Okay, so let's jump into merging these 3 photos to a panorama. And I will just do a very quick demonstration and also a very quick edit. So as you can see on the screen, these 3 images are just as I took them. This is the center, and then we shifted the lens to the left and then to the right. So if I mark these 3 images and just right click on them, I will go to merging to panorama. As you see, this version of Lightroom is in Swedish, but doesn't matter. It's the same in other languages. So, and then I get to choose what kind of projection, spherical, cylindrical, or perspective. And you can just click them and see how they change. I usually go for a spherical. And I also mark the crop automatically to remove the parts of the image borders that is superfluous later on. So then I just click merge. So this creates a large image, and also this is a gigantic photo. I think the end result, without checking now, I think the end result is about 200 to 250 megapixels or something. And you can also click to see the level of detail in this photograph. As you can see, it's pretty sharp in the foreground, and if we move to the island, you can see it's sharp even there. And then also, if we look at the treetops, there was a little bit of wind, so there are some motion blur at the treetops. So I will just make some very quick edits for it now. So as you can see, we used 1/4 of a second, and also at f16 you can see that there is some blur in the movement of the water, which I think is perfectly fine to sort of lose the ripples in the water. It makes for a cleaner image and less to be distracted by. So I will just make a few different adjustments here, and the first I like to do is trying to make sort of get a more panoramic and pleasing image for this perspective. So something like that, and also using some linear gradients to darken the foreground a bit. And also to mask the sky, choose the sky. And I think Lightroom nowadays makes an excellent job in finding the sky and marking it as a mask. And then you can sort of adjust the contrast and the exposure to make it a bit more dramatic. I don't like how that turned out in the saturation, so I will desaturate it a bit. Something like that. That is perfectly fine, I think. And also you can do it a lot more dramatic. Perhaps I can put on a vignette or something like that to draw the attention to the center of the image a bit more. Perhaps warming it up a bit also with the white balance or temperature. So there, I think that is quite nice. I haven't done anything about the sharpness yet, so let's take a look at the rocks in the foreground. You can put a bit of a sharpness going up to sort of 55% and do the masking up to 1. See, it's perfectly sharp, and then we move up to the island to see where sharpness ends up there. Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. So there, this is the final image for now, and of course you can do a lot more with it later on, but we'll take this as a good example of a panorama made by a tilt and shift lens using the shifting function. So, as an experiment, let's say now that we want the same panorama, but using both the tilt and the shift function of this lens. How would we do it? Well, just as before, we try to get the iterative way of tilting down the front of the lens and finding the perfect focus plane. And this is actually quite good on the rocks on the island. And we will go down to the rocks here in the foreground, and you can see just by tilting a tiny bit that the rocks in the foreground here are in perfect focus too. So we'll do the same thing now as we did before. So we will just release the shift knob here too. There we go. Okay, so now we'll try 3 exposures and stitch them together later on. So this is the first. And now we will go to the second, going to sort of like, we can go all the way to see what happens with the vignetting. This is a second exposure. And let's go for the third exposure all the way to the right in this case. And this is the result. Okay, I hope you found that inspiring, and hopefully it answered a lot of questions. I will have to pack everything down now because it will begin to get dark here in about 15 minutes. Actually the sun sets in about 15 or 20 minutes. It's now 9:45 p.m. in the evening. But as you have seen, it is quite useful if you want to nail an image straight out of camera and try to get as much as possible done in the camera when you're out in the field using a tilt and shift lens. But as I've said before, it's not for everyone, so don't go in a sort of buying craze, because these lenses are very expensive, and if you have no use for it, then don't buy it. That's my advice. But if you are a working professional, mainly in the areas of landscape, architecture, interiors, those kinds of fields, then a lens of this kind will certainly pay for itself. Okay, all for now. Hope to see you again very soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. I love to read your comments, and it is a sort of a basis for a Q&A that I will use also in future episodes. So don't be shy, ask whatever you want. Okay, bye bye. I hope that sound came through the microphone. Wonderful.